My channel to everyone who's new here, and of course to those of you who are back again. Great to have you here. In this video we will take a look together at possible scenarios for the price development of several altcoins. Things remain exciting, so make sure to watch until the end. You will also find another video on my channel where I analyze Bitcoin and Ethereum daily. That's definitely worth checking out. And also worth checking out is the crypto exchange mexc, which has the lowest taker fees in the top ranking of the crypto exchanges. With my referral code and referral link, which you can find in the video description, you save another 20% on your taker fees. And 100 pairs with 0 fees just on mexc. And here you have a huge list of popular altcoins which you can trade without any fees. So let's get to XRP. We have tracked here a falling wedge which broke to the upside. Target was the $2.23, but if I take that target and I put it to the lowest point where XRP went, this is the less bullish target we can take, then we hit that target, so I can take this one out. Yeah, I'm still bearish for the coins. I'm not bullish just because the coins made 10%, some even 20% to the upside since a few days. I'm still not bullish. I don't see that. What I see is actually a pullback incoming for Bitcoin and other coins. And for sure, XRP is going to get down as well if Bitcoin gets a pullback. Also, we had here a huge rising wedge, which also broke to the downside. And we haven't invalidated that pattern yet. I've told you the $2.18 if they break to the upside. Then we can even get into my circle area here up to $2.30. Then the rising wedge would get invalidated in my view. But it didn't so far. So basically it's still short to me. And I know that the past week I had some winner trades for sure. Most trades went into break even and some were even loser trades. I know that last week was tricky and I have also got many loser trades as well. I'm not telling you that I'm just winning here. The weeks before it was very, very good, very precise analysis, but currently the market is a bit more tricky for me to track. I think for most of you as well. But I still think we are getting a major pullback. Yeah, I know that I was short a few days too early. But if we sell off soon, then yeah, for sure I'm going to be right, okay. But I have to take it as a loss. Yeah, because we went far more up than I expected in most cases. So what would I say here? $2.14. If they break to the downside, then we have space to the downside for sure. Here I would say risk to reward ratio is very high if we catch a short trade here. Because I think we don't have much more space to the upside. And even if we do and we sell off, then the gains are going to get very interesting. If we break the $2.14 to the downside, then I would short it. If we break the $2.18 to the upside, then I'm not going to short XRP. Then I'm going to wait for the $2.30 to fill that fair value gap here. And then I'm going to enter a swing short position for XRP. If I see then the $2.03 breaks to the downside, then I think we are confidently getting into a huge pullback. And that pullback would get confirmed once we break the $1.98 as well. If we do, then I think the highest chance we have is seeing a price for XRP between $1.86 to $1.92. But it might be even possible that we get a new low for XRP because, as you can see, this whole structure to the upside was pretty good. But Bitcoin is currently here. XRP is here. We didn't get a higher high than the one on your left. That's why I think XRP still has the chance to get a new low. Lower than we had here with the huge crash. So I would be a bit careful for XRP and in general for all the altcoins. So what about Dogecoin. We have said that Dogecoin would be short once we break the red trend line to the downside. We can zoom in. We broke it to the downside. We got here the retest, but we missed the follow through. And that's a huge, that was a bit tricky. We could have also said this was our retest. We didn't got 100% to that red trend line, but this could have counted as retest as well. And as you can see here, we would have got the follow through. Yeah, so two cases were available on Dogecoin. I didn't short Dogecoin in this case because I waited for the fair value gap to close. We also had a fair value gap here, and we closed it with this push to the upside. And here I missed the follow through. So basically it was a small loser trade. I was here short and put my stop loss right here, and it got hit. It wasn't much, so it's okay for me to get this as a loser trade. Instead we pushed to the upside, and even that push to the upside, I didn't expect it, to be honest. I was thinking the 17 cents are going to get major resistance. We overshot it and use it as support. But on the way up, we even got many fair value gaps. We can go into the 1 hour chart and look if they are a bit bigger. Yes, as you can see, here's one. The biggest one is here. So basically those are getting, I think the price is going to get into those fair value gaps soon. I still expect that we can get a little bit higher for Dogecoin. Here we can say, okay, we have here an area. This one here, which I think is going to get very interesting as well as resistance. But also Dogecoin already made it gains. Yeah, we got here a nice structure to the upside, like this. We got a higher high than this one, so it's positive that Dogecoin did it. If we get a bit more up, it would be better, in my view, because in the end of the day, if we get the pullback from here, for example, into that area, then I can expect a huge push for Dogecoin. If we get rejected now and get a huge correction to the downside, then I think that the next push isn't going to get far more higher. So we have to see what is going to happen for Dogecoin. For me, the 16.15 cents are very interesting. We have still this short trend line, and also here resistance. Sorry, support. This is support. I will also make it red. So this cross is going to get very interesting. If we break that sustainable to the downside, then I would be confident that Dogecoin can drop far more. And you can see here the price marks of the good support levels. 15.3 cents is a good support. 14.9 cents is a good support. 14.3 cents is our best support, which has to hold. If it's not going to hold, then we can think about prices getting to 12.3 cents to 12.7 cents for Dogecoin. And yes, it is possible to get a new low for Dogecoin. So, Solana. We can look again here. Solana wasn't short. We got the breakout candle. We got the retest. So basically we could have jumped into a trade when we got the perfect retest with a stop loss. Maybe here, or we give it a bit more space here. But we would have got stopped out. And we didn't get a nice follow through. We needed a candle close right here, lower than the breakout candles. So it didn't happen. Instead, I have changed the rising wedge a little bit to make it, let's say, less bearish. And less bearish is always getting with a higher chance. We can be super bearish, but that scenario most likely isn't going to happen 100%. With that rising wedge, we are going to have a higher chance to get into the target area. So let's talk about the rising wedge first. If it breaks to the downside at 140 US dollar, 41 US dollar, then it would be positive for short trade for Solana. The target of that rising wedge would be the 119 US dollar, and the 119 US dollar is an resistance area where you can see whenever we got into that area, we got a reversal of the price. Yeah, so keep that in mind, that I like it very much if chart patterns are working with support and resistance areas. Also, what I want to show you is that I think Solana made its top here, or even can get up a few more dollars, and then is going to sell in my view. I'm going to show you that with the Elliott wave method. So we are taking this low, and you can see here we got support at the 0.618 Fibonacci, and that's a common target of an wave 2. If we want to predict wave 3, then we have to take the Fibonacci extension levels, put it like that. So, and the wave 3 is typically going into the area 1.618 to 2.618. And here I have put the 200% extension. We hit it with that top, so wave 3 is valid. Wave 4 is an 38% correction of wave 3. So we can take this one here to wave 3. And you can see the 0.382 Fibonacci, which is the 38.2% correction. We hit it perfectly, so this is a wave 4. If we want to predict wave 5, and wave 5 is this whole thing here on the chart, this is wave 5, then we are also going to take the Fibonacci extensions, put it to wave 1, to the top of wave 3, down to wave 4. And the typical target is the 0.618 Fibonacci. And you can see at the 0.5 Fibonacci, we already got some resistance where we sold off. And we got into the 0.61 Fibonacci and also getting some problems. Yeah, we can still extend a bit more. No question, $155 is possible for Solana. But Bitcoin is also currently in its topping area. I think Bitcoin is somewhere here in that Fibonacci retracement, or was there. Solana is here. So if Bitcoin goes to its 0.786 Fibonacci, Solana has the chance to hit the 0.618 Fibonacci perfectly. We didn't hit it perfectly. We missed $1, I think. We can even overshoot a bit more, but I think Solana is topping out. I don't think that Solana is going to get a major push to $200 right now. I think we can expect a huge pullback, because as you can see, we have said if this on your left here was a 1-2 setup, and you know the wave 2 correction goes down to the 0.618 Fibonacci. We can say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. This is an wave 1. And where is wave 2 going? Same like here. I can put here. So this is our golden area for the wave 2. This is the area between 116 US dollar to $106. So I think we are getting there soon. It's just a matter of time. And for sure I want to short it, because in the end of the day, if we just take the breakout point of that rising wedge, it's the 18% up to 24% without leverage. So that's a trade which I don't want to miss for Solana. I think the $123 are going to get us a major bounce if we break to the downside. Then I can expect that here we are getting a bounce, but after that we might sell off into that area with a higher chance. So if the $123.50 fall, then we can expect a push to the downside right into that. Yeah, I will make this area blue. Yeah, wrong one. Blue, so we can track what is going to happen with Solana tomorrow. So what about Cardano? Cardano was also tricky. We got here a huge fair value gap, and I don't like it. So that's why here was the retest, or here was the retest. You can decide. But in the end of the day, we didn't get a follow through for Cardano, so Cardano wasn't short in my view. Instead, we broke the 64.8 cents to the upside, where I've said, okay, if we break it to the upside, we can go into my circle area, because we have then here over us major resistance, and you can see we sold off. So basically I can take out this circle. I would say if the 64 cents breaks to the downside, sustainable means for me, I want to see a breakout without fair value gaps. We have seen here a huge fair value gap. If I don't see any fair value gaps over us, then I can enter a short trade once we get a 1 hour candle close lower than that trend line. But if I see a fair value gap, then I want to wait for the fair value gap to close, or to get a perfect retest on that trend line. Then I can enter a short trade and put my stop loss close. And if we then get a follow through, then it's a very profitable trade. If not, then we have lost a little bit money from Cardano. So 64 cents have to hold. If they break to the downside, then the chances are getting higher that we meet the area, probably first of all the support area between 61 cents to 60.8 cents. I'm not going to take many price marks here, but 61 cents. Let's keep it like that. But if we also break that to the downside and fall to the 59.5 cents and also break that to the downside, then what is going to happen is this was a double top pattern. And if that breaks to the downside, then the 52 cents is going to get our target. And it might be even possible that we overshoot it into the area 48 cents to 44.5 cents for Cardano. So I would keep that scenario in mind. It's still possible. Cardano didn't do a higher high than this one's here. I have also made this trend lines green. It doesn't mean that I'm going to long it, but it means if we break this one to the upside, then it would be a break of structure, and break of structure would be for me. What did I do here? So break of structure for me means that we can still expect a huge pullback, but that pullback is going to get us a higher low where we then can get a huge push to the upside. We didn't get it. We didn't get a break of structure. So this scenario can still happen for Cardano. It will just take a few days, weeks. We have to track that. What about render? Yeah, render, we have said also once we break the red trend line to the downside, then it would be short. We didn't even wick to lower than that. So render wasn't short at all. But also here, same for Solana. We have did the count once with Solana, so you know how it's going to work. But also in yesterday's video, I have did a very precise Elite wave analysis for render. We can just look where the wave 5 is going to go, the usual target of that. So the usual target of the wave 5 is the 0.618 Fibonacci up to 0.786 Fibonacci. And you can also see that we got even issues when we got into that area. We sold off. We sold off as well, and here also it looks even more, I wouldn't say like a shoulder head shoulder formation, but this here can be even a bear flag. If we break it to the downside, I'm not going to short it, even though it's going to be a bearish pattern. But in the end of the day, $4.24 if they break to the downside. This was the trend line of our old rising wedge. We used it 2 times as a support, 2 times as resistance. So I think this trend line is going to get very interesting. If we break it to the downside, then it's short to me. And here I have another trend line. This was also from the rising wedge. If we also break that to the downside, then we can think about increasing our position size for render. But I think if that was the wave 1, then we can take the Fibonacci retracements. And then you can see that where I put the box, there is the golden level for the wave 2. And after that, I expect a huge push for render. Maybe even 100 to 200% gains without leverage is possible for render. But first, let's get into the area here where I've put the square. And let's check render tomorrow again. So what about ONDO? For ONDO, I could have jumped into the short trade right here, because we didn't got any fair value gaps over us. We hadn't fair value gaps here. So basically, ONDO was short here. We got here a nice push to the downside where we got the break. The candle closed lower than the 85 cents, but here was a fair value gap. We came up, we came down. This candle was the follow through to this one. So I have increased my position size because I was thinking, okay, here this huge thing was a fair value gap and we closed 50% of that, so I can jump into my trade and we have got the follow through, so it's safe to trade. It wasn't. I got stopped out, break even, not a big deal. In the end of the day, I've also showed you that ONDO can even go up, but it was before we broke the red trend line to the downside. And here we go. I have put the circle. We didn't hit it perfectly, but very close, as you can see. So I can take this one out. And now we have to see, are we going to sell off? And I think we are going to sell off. I can't tell you where a good short entry would be. I would still keep the 85 cents. If the 85 cents breaks to the downside, then I would be short for ONDO. I don't see any safe option, because if we take, for example, this trend line here with 2 touch points, nah, I don't want to use a trend line with 2 touch points. We can maybe try this one as well. Here we also have 3 touch points, but they are too close to each other that I don't want to use it. So for ONDO we have to wait for tomorrow or even a few days more, so we can track a nice structure, maybe even a bear flag or rising wedge, where we then find a nice trend line which we can trade a bit more safely. But if the 85 cents breaks to the downside, then our best support is at 82 cents. If we also lose that, then make sure 76 cents are going to get very interesting, because we have a huge fair value gap there. And fair value gaps tending to get closed. So what about SUI? SUI wasn't short for me. Here was a huge fair value gap. We broke to the downside, okay. Here was the candle close. So this is the breakout candle. We even got the retest into our fair value gap. So here we could have jumped into a short trade with a tight stop loss, because we have here until here was the fair value gap and we were close to it. So we could have jumped into a trade here and put our stop loss maybe here or even a bit more lower. We missed the follow through. So basically stopped out, break even, or a bit in losses. Depends on how we traded. Yeah, I was in a bit of loss. So I have drew here some circles, which should have been take profit areas once we break the white trend line to the upside, but it was in the past. So basically, I forgot even that they exist, to be honest. I can take them out. But we came into that area. I have told that probably a few days back that SUI can get into that area once we break the $2.22 to the upside. But I totally forgot it to say it yesterday, I think. In the end of the day, we overshot the high here, which I think is positive. I also think that SUI has more upside potential. SUI is not looking that it's going to top out. We can look, for example, to Solana. Solana already made candles in its top area. We can look, for example, into Render. Render already, here was the top, and Render already made some candles and lower highs. SUI isn't doing it. So SUI has more upside potential in my view, but also not much. Keep in mind, if we go into the past, and we take, for example, this here, this was a major resistance for us in the past. So I can make this trend line white, and somewhere in that area up to $2.55. I will put here the price tag. Somewhere here we should top out with a very high chance. If we don't top out now, then probably in that area. And then we have to think about a major pullback for SUI. I have said before $2.20, then it would be short if we break that to the downside. Now I would say $2.27. Yep, I can take it like this. I can also make this trend line right. So if we break this to the downside, then I would say SUI is short with a higher chance. And also what I have tracked was a double top pattern, but we invalidated it. So I was thinking this is maybe a double top pattern, overshot it, so I can basically take this one out. So the last coin, and then I can also go to sleep. So what about HBAR? Exactly as predicted, I would say. We have set 16.8 cents. If they break to the downside, then it would be short, down to 16.7 cents to 15.4 cents. We got here the breakout candle, but the retest failed. Instead, we overshot it pretty quick, got even support, got even a huge candle to the upside. Here also support. We didn't close lower than that, so HBAR wasn't even close to a short for me. Instead, we have also said, okay, if we break that, I would say blue trend line, is it, to the upside, then we can get into my circle area. Exactly as predicted, I can take this one out. Why? Yeah, well, you can see in the past, we got major resistance in that area, between 17.8 cents to 17.9 cents. That's why I have said, okay, with a high chance we are going to get rejected. Why? Because we got rejected there, I think, 30 times. We have to go into the 4-hour chart. And then you can see how many times we got rejected there and got support there. Here we got even 2 times within 4 hours. Yeah, this is 8 hours here, which we can see. If we go into a smaller time frame, then you can probably see that we got rejected there a bit more often. But here also, so many spikes into that area, 17.8 cents to 17.9 cents. Also here several times. And whenever we got to the 18 cents, we got a price reversal. We just once got the break to the downside. But before we got 3 times in a row support. Yeah, so I think this is going to get very, very difficult to break to the upside. Yeah, the round about 18 cents. So HBAR also, like I said, we have the 18 cents over us, which is the biggest resistance we can have for HBAR. It's already worth a short. In that area it is short to me actually, because we can set our stop loss here. If we break to the upside, then we would be bullish for HBAR. If not, which I think is going to happen, we sell off. But if we want to get some verification, 17.4 cents, if they break to the downside, then it would be the first indication that we can get into 16.85 cents. That's also worth a short in my view. And if we break the 16.8 cents to the downside, yeah, where can we go? Down to 15.4 cents, where a huge double top pattern is waiting for us. And we haven't invalidated it. SUI invalidated its double top pattern, HBAR didn't. So if the 15.4 cents then breaks to the downside, then we can reach for prices down to 12.9 cents for HBAR. And also here you can see it already, a huge fair value gap. If we build up more bearish patterns, which we then break to the downside, then we can even reach for prices down to 9.1 cents. But that area is definitely worth buying in my view. You always see people saying buy the dip, buy the dip. This right here, this is going to be your dip, I think. And this will be my dip, which I would go for a very, very, with high risk, with high capital, because I think that's the dip of the dip of the dip, so the last dip in the end of the day. So I hope that I gave you some valuable information. I think today was a bit longer. But also we will look into the coins tomorrow again, and we will see if we topped out or if we get new tops for some coins. I'm going to get very surprised, because like you have seen in the past days and also maybe in the week before, that I was already bearish for most of the coins, and the coins overshot, even did higher highs. I'm still sticking to my analysis. Just I changed a bit of it for sure. I'm more bullish for the coins. I think we have a bullish reversal for, I think, 50% of the coins on my list. The other 50% are still looking bearish, which still have a high chance to get a new low. The coins which broke out of the structure, which I would say is important for a bullish reversal, they still can get a pullback, a huge pullback. But the push after the pullback, this is going to get a nice and very profitable push, which I think is going to be worth trying to long after the pullback. So, thank you for watching. See you tomorrow and have a good night, because I'm going to sleep now.